All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back once again to the only coast to coast show that's all about the information economy. It's time for Inside Analysis. Yours truly, Eric Kavanagh here. And we've got a wonderful show lined up for you today, folks. We're going to talk about AI and how it's helping business in all kinds of different ways. And our first guest is dialing in from Spain. We have Juan Garcia from Tuio. That's Tuio. They are an insurance company. They do all kinds of insurance, property insurance, uh, personal insurance, all kinds of different things. And they are enhancing the entire workflow end to end with AI. So, with that, Juan, congratulations. First of all, that's quite an accomplishment. Where does AI come into the picture, and how are you using AI to really optimize your business?
We use it along the whole customer lifecycle, and it all came from the realization that we probably needed to start thinking about using AI to make better decisions as opposed to chase just pure cost to serve efficiency, which I think, or what we see not only in insurance, in most different verticals, they just what everybody's chasing, right? And but in insurance, it's pretty clear that just chasing cost to serve is not going to bring you a lot of business value because if you look at the cost structure of insurance, just around 10%, depends on the line, but let's say around 10%, it's cost to serve. So even if you can reduce it by 50%, which is very difficult, you're only going to have 5% points more of profit margin. Whereas
Right.
if you look at marketing and you look at claims, which is the grunt of your business operations, and you improve it, that's 85% of your
Wow.
whole cost base. So if you improve there, then you can only improve 10%, but you will have already 8 to 9 percentage points in improved profit margin. So for us, that realization being insurance it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was easy, but at least it made sense to start focusing
Right.
on different processes. And that what we did, we started 2023. Well, we started the company in 2021. We started working with AI in 2023 with ChatGPT when ChatGPT 3.5 started, and
Wow.
that was a
Right at the
long time
beginning.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. Looking at um, text agents and chatbots and things like that, which post at that point a whole set of problems with hallucinations and different things. But then around mid 2024, we realized that we needed to switch how we thought about AI because, yeah, as I said, in insurance, just plugging AI into your customer service just won't do. Will take you only so far. I mean, don't get
Right.
me wrong, we do things there, but the grant of the large size of our work now is geared on how we can improve marketing and how we can improve our claims process, and that's what we do mostly with AI now. We also do some underwriting, but I wouldn't say it's Gen AI; it's machine learning mostly. And as of my co-founders used to say ages ago, that the difference between machine learning and Gen AI and AI in general is that machine learning lives in Python and AI lives in PowerPoint. Not anymore, but it used to be like that.
That's pretty funny. Well, and claims processing, let's face it, it's a very mundane and difficult task. And so, if you can optimize claims processing with AI, with models basically that look at various dimensions of the claim, what happened, where it happened, what the details were, if you can optimize that, boy, you not only increase your profit margin, but you also increase the morale of your employees, right?
For sure, for sure. Thing about claims is that it's just they don't follow a straight line. They branch out depending on the coverage, the severity, fraud signals, if there are third parties involved, like experts or the repair companies. Because in Spain, the largest amount of claims are not just reimbursed, are repaired by the insurance company. But we obviously work with third parties that do that, like painters, plumbers, and all
Hmm.
sorts of people. Um, but if you do that, then the traditional way of automating, like A, first it's A, then it's B, and then it's C, and all the trees, if you try to do it um, in the traditional way of automation technologies, it won't work very well, and it will be a very hardest job as well because the branches are just infinite.
Hmm.
So when we started thinking on how we could improve claim adjustment through AI, then you realize that Gen AI, because it's not deterministic, it's just great technology to
Right.
work on claims. So So what we did is we built this and this agent. It's called Watson, which is the Sherlock Holmes helper because he investigates all the claim. And that's we tend to name all our agents. And basically, what we build is a next best action machine. It
Interesting.
get all sorts of different inputs, and then it analyzes them. And then it suggests next steps, and it suggests next steps, but also suggests the confidence level that it has. So this
Hmm.
confidence level construct helps us to fully automate a given suggestion, or maybe we have to have a human in the loop so that it reviews it. And also the confidence level helps us just to maybe refuse to automate suggesting at all. For example, outright refusals of a claim coverage, we tend to have we refuse to automate because we think it's something very delicate and the customer is in a very vulnerable position whenever he's filing a claim, and a rejection is just a very traumatic event in a way. And so
Sure.
we think that's where by design we have a human in the loop always there. But some other
Right.
decisions just reviewing reserves for your audience. Reserves are what you predict that a given claim is going to cost you. So when you keep updating those reserves as more information from the claim, it's known at every stage when you get new information and when you have an appraisal that becomes aware or an expert that visits the house. And so, for example, that one we let the Watson update without even with low level of confidence because that's doesn't have as much impact in the customer. So yeah, we built this NBA machine that at every stage of the claim just suggests the next steps, and depending on the confidence level, we automate or we decide that we have this person that reviews it. And one of the neat things is that we've built this feedback loop that our current adjusters just go through, or not anymore, but at the very beginning, even if the confidence was high, it would go through the suggestions and validate them. Or if they refuse it, they would actually plug in the machine why they were refusing them. So that
Hmm.
helped us improve the prompting, improve the memory, improve the manuals because we based all of our adjustment in the different manuals, and it's basically a non-stop improvement process, right? Because
Hmm.
you are not stuck into a tree or an abstraction of the reality. You are actually handling the claim as in real time as dealing with the real things that are happening and suggesting next steps.
Yeah, I think it's very wise and empathetic that you have a human always in the process if there's going to be a rejection. So you do not automate that at all. I think that's very clever. The success stories we see with AI in operations look like what you're discussing, which is they are optimizing processes that are mundane, where the risk is pretty low of getting something incorrect because there's still a human to check on things. But you're basically tackling all sorts of low-hanging fruit right now in terms of automating tedious processes that are necessary to fill out the overall workflow, but not the crucial points when a human still has to be in the loop, right?
That's actually right. For example, and this and one of the things that if I may say so, that we've done pretty well is that we haven't involved AI into an existing process. We've kind of re-engineered the process to have AI in the center and adjust where we could so it works better. So for example, it works in conjunction. Our claim filing process is fully digital. So whenever a customer has a claim, it goes on our app. It goes to a tree and selects the type of issue that it had, and files a video, takes a video, and or sends us pictures of what happened. And whenever it gets to it gets to the FNO, which is like the stage when a claim adjuster would actually look at all the information and start treating the file. Um, that's where we get a huge ton of information about the claim and from the pictures, from the description, from a voice note, for example, or from the video. And that's where a Gen AI works very well. So you plug all that information and it analyzes everything and it has an
Hmm.
initial recommendation already. And it does it in minutes, even in seconds. But
Wow.
if a person would actually have to go and watch a video and look at the pictures, plug the information from the Catastro, which is the public database where all the houses in Spain are filed, and get all that information, even to get information, previous claims from the customer, or the state of the customer, if his policy is currently paid, or is it, or if it is unpaid, or all this different information. If a person had to go through it, it would take what, half an hour
Wow.
even. But
Right.
if you get an AI, our Watson, to just go through it and produce recommendations for the adjuster, then it's just a minute. It just goes through a recommendation. If there's something that he doesn't understand, then he just go back and maybe watches the video. But then if everything is clear and you have a clear description of what happened and next suggestions and everything looks right, then you just go to OK, and then it's already working on for the customer.
Hmm.
And it's only been minutes as opposed to hours, right? So
Right.
that in the end is just better for the customer.
Yeah. And do you by chance use large visual models in your pipeline? Because I know some of these models now can identify this is a Mercedes versus a Jaguar versus some other kind of car. And if you can catch, for example, a claimant giving you the wrong name or the wrong type of car, that's a red flag. Is that part of the mix too?
It is, and not even in cars. It's also at household. One of the things that we find is that fraud, and this is very tricky to talk about, but fraud, it tends to be, at least in Spain and our experience, not very sophisticated. So
Oh,
what we find is that, for example, you get, it's true,
that's funny.
or at least the one that we catch is not very sophisticated. It's probably the sophisticated one. We just don't catch it all. We just
Yeah,
realize it's
right.
fraud.
That's funny.
And so what we find is that, for example, you see pictures that were either because of their or file name or the metadata were taken before the
Whoa.
policy was purchased, or
Oh.
or similar thing with the video, or you even find, this is very funny, you find pictures that are from Google Images, and not Google Images in page 10. It's just the first result of the very first page of Google
Oh
Images.
no.
So these are things that are easy to get, but very time consuming. So if you got that machine to do it for you, then I mean, it's just better for the person, better for our adjuster, better for the customer, better for the business.
Wow. And your model, did you take something off of Hugging Face, or how did you come up with the model initially that you began to train and are now fine-tuning and using?
So the model we built on top of like normal models. So we build on top of LangChain as a framework,
Right.
and so we plug all the manuals ourselves. We plug all the different prompting. So we build it all in house. It's just the LLM that's powering everything from below. It's just the regular LLMs, and the interesting thing and is that if you just with a given set of information or of manuals and memory tools and prompts, if you just change the LLM, the behavior changes completely. So you have to be
Right.
very careful sometimes in whenever the latest and greatest LLM is released, then we need to be very careful that we just don't, oh, let's upgrade for the sake of upgrade, and then just realize that the LLM has a completely different uh,
Sure.
set of
Sure.
behaviors, and then just you just broke everything that you just built.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you stuck with LangChain, and that's the foundation now. And then you went and you referred to the manuals and sort of regulations, and you manually entered a lot of that stuff into the system. So that's your governance layer basically. And then you hinted at this, and I'm just verifying that the model will learn over time. So if it comes up with a mistake and you say no, that was a mistake, it's going to learn from that incrementally. Is that right?
Well, one of the things that we've done for all of our Gen AI agents is just we've built evaluators on top, and the
Hmm.
evaluators is just not the saying that something was right or was wrong, which is they do obviously, but they also do three things that I think it's fundamental from our model. They if it doesn't matter if it was right or wrong, whatever the outcome was, it always will try to look for if there is a possible improvement on their database, if there's a possible improvement on the prompt, or if there's a possible improvement within the rest of the company, let's say uh, like insurance product improvements, like new coverages, or digital product improvements, like they just realize that there's an issue with several functionalities. So we try to one of the neat things about LLMs is that what you would previously could only do through statistical sampling, just calling a subset of your customers or just try to watch a subset of your sessions in your digital product. Then now you can do it at scale because you just run through it through the model. It
Hmm.
just spits whatever it thinks and whatever the problems are, and it just clusters for you and just gives you basically whatever is wrong with your product at scale, which usually you couldn't before, or
Oh,
was more
wow.
complicated.
Right. Well, and so you're using these technologies to optimize the process, starting with marketing, so who you market to, how you market to them, but then throughout the whole claims process, you're automating key parts that were mundane and tedious and of course time consuming and thus error prone. I mean, even though LLMs are probabilistic, so are people. Like people make
They
mistakes.
are.
LLMs make mistakes, and really the LLM is just reflecting back patterns that it's seen before, patterns in words, patterns in imagery, for example. So the key is to assign that or insert that into a workflow. And that's what you've done with traditional insurance workflows. You're just optimizing the beginning, the middle, and the end, right?
That's exactly right. One of the things that whenever, and claims is a good example, but also marketing, whenever you have a given claim, just the same claim treated by two different adjusters, it may have completely different outcomes because just we as people, we're just not deterministic, and LLMs are not. That's why they're very suited to just get rid of that divergence in between treatments, so you get the similar outcomes for similar claims, which before it wasn't the case. You would see when you would look at different adjusters, you would see their average costs for a given coverage were completely different, and I mean, it can, you have to control for the actual claims that that person treated, because maybe
Right.
one person is just it's very expert and only treats very difficult claims, and they tend to be larger, so the average cost is larger. But then given same type of claims, you would see completely disparate results in if among adjusters, right? So AI it's also helps with consistency, because
Mm.
the reserve proposed are usually the same ones. The the for example, when you have to have back payments are usually the same ones. And everything is more consistent because you get rid of the human factor.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, this is very cool stuff. Congratulations on really optimizing what is a rather tedious, mundane task of marketing to people, but then bringing them on board, processing claims, end to end. Very cool stuff. Look this gentleman up online, Juan Garcia Tuio, Tuio, based in Spain. We'll be right back. You're listening to Inside Analysis.